Alright guys, we're back. I'm going to move my seat down to the bottom here so that you can see me. Mr. Pimp Hand just bought in here, and this is going to be a full ring hand game. I'm going to wait for the big blind here, which will be in a couple hands. This is another 10 cent, 25 cent no limit hold'em table. We're taking a look around the table. We can see that there's two people that are above the $25 max buy-in, which is immediately to my left of VZ's, and straight across from me, which is AKD87. They're both up a little bit of money. This actually looks like a pretty decent table. Everybody's got a somewhat decent chip stack. There's some money to be made here. I generally like to play a six-handed table or less because I like to be aggressive, but again, we're in the lower limits. I know most of you guys playing are going to be playing the lower limits to start out with. And I'm going to play a little bit tighter here, and even a little bit tighter than the last game because this is a bigger table with more people. So we're going to wait till the next hand. That's when our big blind kicks in, and we're going to get this party going. And I think what you need to realize if you play online poker or even regular poker, your bankroll needs to be 20 times the max buy-in of the limit you're playing. So if you're playing 5 cent, 10 cent poker, you need to have a $200 bankroll. That way there's no stress to you. When you come to 10 cent, 25 cent, then that bankroll also needs to be 20 times the max, which is going to be $500. And you shouldn't move up limits until you hit that amount. We're in the big blind here with pocket tens, which is a decent starting hand. Everybody here is just calling. This is a pretty passive table. This guy raises to 75, which is absolutely ridiculous. I'm just calling here. I'm out of position. I only have pocket tens. I'm looking to either hit a set of tens or get the hell out of that hand. A lot of people in the pot here. I bet 75. This guy raises it to $1. They're raising in 25 cent increments, which is, for lack of words, absolutely retarded. I'm going to call here. We're going to see what happens. My 10 hits. Anybody has 6-8 here is going to crush me. You could have 8-9. This guy's betting 468. I'm going to try to get these other guys out of hand by a re-raise, which is 6. That's 10. We're just going to make it a big ass raise. If he has 6-8, he's gonna stack me, and I'm gonna have to rebuy, which is fine. I got a set. I'm willing to pay for that. This guy goes all in for what reason I don't know. I'm gonna call this. We're gonna see what we got. Aces and jacks versus my tens, and we just increased our chip stack from $25 to $74, and that's how bad these players suck on this game. Playing on full tilt poker back in the day before the government shut it down, a 10 cent, 25 cent game ran like a 1-2 game, and even sometimes like a $2, $5 blind game. These guys here are absolutely horrible, and you can see in one hand I hit my set, and they overplayed their big pocket pairs and got just stacked like crazy. King 2 here, junk, small blind, I'm out. And they generally say in poker, if you can double your buy-in, you've had a good night. We've damn near tripled it in under 3 minutes. So that lets you know the level of players on this site. And if you're patient and you want to play tight, which I generally do not, I like to play loose aggressive, you can absolutely crush these guys and make a lot of money. BetOnline.com. If you like to play poker, you want to make some money in your spare time, you're like me and you absolutely despise playing any type of free poker because people don't play like they have any brains whatsoever. Not that these guys are that much better. You can actually win money for investing your time into a game you like. Now, this game right here, this hand right here has a paired board. It had the possibility of a straight, and it had the possibility of a flush. This guy's coming out with a big bet. He only leaves 24 cents in a stack, which is retarded. 5-6 of hearts on the button is something that I would definitely play if I can get in somewhat cheap. If nobody bets when it comes around to me, I will absolutely raise here. 5-6 of hearts, you can hit a straight, you can hit a flush. People generally, if they're familiar in poker, don't give you a ton of credit on the button. Normally I would raise here. I'm playing a little bit tighter. It's a bigger hand. It's small limits where people call anything. So I'm just going to call here. And if the flop comes out and I hit my hand, then I'm going to bet. If I don't, I'm just going to fold, and it's only costing me 50 cents. Okay, I've hit bottom pair with a shitty kicker, but I also have a open and a straight draw right now. This guy absolutely bets the pot here, which I don't like. I would either really need to hit a 4 or a 9 that was not of clubs to make me feel comfortable. I don't think 2 pair here would make me comfortable. I don't think hitting another 5 here would make me comfortable, because if he happens to have a pair of 7s or a pair of 8 in his hands, I'm dead in the water, and I'm going to pay him the $12 in his hand plus the 2 he put out. So I'm going to play it tight here and fold. I don't know the guy, so I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. In my experience on this website, he didn't have shit. He was just overbetting a flush draw, a straight draw. But I don't want to risk it to find out. I'm way up right now, and there's no need for me to play around with these loose players. Jack 3 in late position, absolute junk. We're going to fold it. These guys are all limping in. And except for a really small amount of hands, you should either be folding or raising if you're going to come into a pot. The only time that I generally will call to get in a hand, no matter what position I'm in, is if I have low suited connectors, suited gap connectors, or a small pair, which means 10s and under, to try to catch my set and stack people, because the more people I have in the pot, the less likely all of them are going to go out and somebody's going to pay me off. So generally when you see people all limping into the pot like this, they're all just looking to try to hit some type of shitty hand. And if somebody tries to play sneaky and limp in with aces, kings, or queens, generally you'll see the flop come out and then their bets start going pretty crazy, at least 75% of the pot or more. And if you hit that, if you see that happening, if you don't have a monster, you can pretty much certainly go ahead and fold and just wait for the next hand and keep your money. And there you are. A guy wears with a pair of 10s with an ace queen on the board. Ridiculous. Deuce 4 offsuit. Absolutely horrible hand. First position raises 3 times. If this was suited, being a loose aggressive player, I would call him and try to stack him because he's got a good stack. But in this position, nothing going here. He can collect the blinds and move on unless one of these dumbasses actually want to call him and play out of position. Generally, if you're calling from under the gun in first position and you're raising 3 times the big blind, you got at least ace queen or better. and that would be Karkin directly to my top. If you're raising under the gun with anything less than that, then you're going to have a short career in poker. And he got a call. So if he's got ace queen or better, he's got a great flop here. He should be betting somewhere in the neighborhood of a $1.25 at least, because there's a straight and a flush draw on the board with the 2-3 of clubs. And he bets pot. So he's trying to shut this down. Probably had ace queen, or at least that's what he was representing, which was a good bet whether he had it or not. I would have folded. King 7, still kind of first position. It's absolutely horrible. I'm not calling that to save my life. And I'll just tell you, the old saying in poker is, if you can't spot the fish at the table, it's probably you. So pay attention how you play. If you love to play poker, you're not great at it, you're new at it, you're trying to learn at it, take the time to watch some videos, either whether it be on YouTube or certain sites, or at least read some poker books. And all you really need to do is become proficient at the starting hands in accordance to the position that you're playing. You need to know a little bit of math, and you need to know a little bit of how to bet. And if you learn that and play tight aggressive from there, you will develop into a good, if not great, if not phenomenal, if not World Series of Poker winner. 2-3 offsuit, jump, we're folding. If you notice the guy to my right, I pwn your chips, or I own your chips, that has 1275 that bought in this game short. He came in the game and immediately paid 25 cents out of position to immediately get in the hand. If you're playing a lot of online poker, guys like that who get in the hand immediately like that and will pay that 25 cents, you can generally guarantee that they are not a good player. On the other hand, I would exercise caution, because there are guys like me who will go to a table and do that and give you that impression of myself. Maybe even lose a small pot to build upon that with a somewhat shitty hand, and then sit and wait to hit a monster and stack you. But 90% of the time, if not 95% of the time, guys like this right here are nothing but big fat donkeys, and you just have to wait to stack their chips off and add them to your collection. And now, if you notice, he bought in for 25 cents out of position, paid a big blind out of position, immediately getting the hand on the table, and now he's sitting out. What kind of sense that makes, beyond me, but hey, he may have had one too many beers tonight. Now he's back. Being online, it's no way to get a physical tell off your opponent. If you play with your opponents long enough, you can start to understand a little bit more about how they play, what they bet, why they bet, when they bet it, folding, so on and so forth. It really happens because people move tables so fast, and the terrible players get their money stacked so fast that it's hard to realize that. But little things like I just told you about, I own your chips, will help you a long way in determining what type of player a person is immediately. And again, he still might have done all that little business right there as putting on a show, and he's just going to sit and wait to stack somebody who's not paying attention. If you notice here, ace king 1 on ace king board, not a big surprise. We got queen 8 offsuit here. We're in early position. We're in second position to bet. We're absolutely going to fold here. I own your chips is definitely either has a slow internet connection, he's watching porn at the same time stroking his dick, or he's just an idiot. But he min raised in first position here, which is generally kind of weird. It's always been a little bit hard for me. If you notice, the guy on the button, Karkin, raised $1, which kind of just doubled his. Now, I Own Your Chips just raised to $1.50. Where in this position, it's getting a little bit ridiculous with the raises. Raise bigger, go home. Don't do this 50-cent shit. And I Own Your Chips maybe just be putting on a big show right here, trying to stack somebody. And here's $1 raise over his. For $1.50 raise, if I was going to re-raise this guy, I'd re-raise him to $4.50 or $5, find out where he's at. Excuse me, guys. Sorry about that. At this point, nobody really knows what anybody's doing. The whole reason to raise a hand is to find out where your opponent's at or eliminate the weaker hands. Neither one of these guys did this here. This flop came out, which has 2 spades. There's a flush draw out there. It's 2, 4, 6, which has a straight draw out there. Somebody slow playing 3, 5 could hit it. Now, if you notice, I Own Your Chips just folded here, which makes a stock and his seat go way down. 10-5's junk. We're folding it. It's just terrible gameplay unless. I always like to play devil's advocate. Own Your Chips is sitting with $10 right now. He's lost a couple dollars in here. He's done pretty much every dumbass thing you can do in an online game so far. And lost a couple dollars doing it, which is not a whole lot of money. In order, if you want to make your case, you want to be an actor and try to stack somebody. This is a hand. It's really not much involved. He's got Jack 9. He's a monster. Other than that, if he just hit an ace on the river, which he did, ace deuce, super weak hand. It's just further embarrassment to him. He's back to about even now. Queen deuce in the big blind. Not playing that for a minute, even though that's suited. So I'm out of position. Doesn't make sense. Alright, I stepped away from the computer for a minute. You'll notice if I played this hand, I'd have had queen deuce. I hit a pair of queens with a weak kicker. 7 comes off. I would have had queens and 7s with a deuce. Anybody else that had a queen with a better kicker than me would have took my money. So it's bad business to play shitty hands like queen deuce. Unbelievably, I hit aces again. I'm not sure what the exact math is, but I think it's like every 240 hands you'll hit a pair of aces. And I hit aces not too long ago before I got on this. It's interesting. Aces are an interesting hand for me. Especially I'm in a small blind, so I'm going to be playing them out of position. This guy just limps. I'm going to be up against an $11 stack and a $19 stack. Just playing him out of position, depending on what hits, is crazy. This guy just limping Hydro Pro is telling me that he doesn't have much shit. So I'm going to make it a decent little raise here. Should have been like 75 cents to $1. I made it $1.20. And we'll see what he wants to do. He absolutely wants to call here. Normally in this position I would like to check raise, but with aces, I'm going to go ahead and just make it a big ass bet, not quite to the pot, but to try to find out where he's at. And of course he folds. He has nothing. You always want to make money on those hands, but when I play big hands out of position, I just want to shut the pot down pretty much as soon as possible because somebody can catch some bullshit, which we've all been there, done that. So I'd rather take my couple dollars and go on about my game than try to stack them and have them catch something and me lose all my money. 4-7 offsuit. This is the button, so you're in the best position. I would tell you to fold this 100% of the time unless you got to the level where you were very loose aggressive. And I'm going to play a loose aggressive hand right now. This guy, Bo Sox, raises 75 cents, which is kind of a standard raise in this game, which is indicating that he has a hand. I'm going to call him. I own your chips, which I don't get much credibility, call behind me. And this is something, if I hit my hand, then I'm going to crush him. Don't really hit much here. Bottom pair with a shitty kicker. This guy makes a big bet into the pot. I'm definitely folding here. I have really nothing to play against him with. I'm assuming he has ace queen or ace king. If he has ace queen, I have a battle here. Ace king, I have a battle here, but I'm not willing to risk that much money to find out. So I'm going to fold. I got a bigger stack now. I can open up my game a little bit. We're going to make this a little bit silly. We're going to raise this to $1.50 with 9-5 suited. I own your chips. I don't give this guy no respect so far. Unless these guys in front of me have a big fucking hand, I don't expect them to call. Maybe Hydro Pro. Yeah, he's in. And we got a hand. We got 3, 4, 5, 6. I can hit a deuce or a 7 for a straight. I have a backdoor flush draw. I have 3 hearts out there right now. I'll definitely check this if I can, because there's enough money in the pot for me to be happy with if I hit my hand. And then I get a free card on the turn. And it's a queen, which is absolutely no help to me, but might have made one of these other guys' hands. So now I'm down to only a deuce and a 7 with a good amount of money in the pot. And fuck it, I'll take another free card. If I don't hit my hand, then I'll just roll out. And there's my 7. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to bet this pot kind of light to see if I can get at least a caller and get a little bit of extra money out of the hand. I didn't think he would call. I own your chips. If he has absolutely anything, which I don't think he does, he's been checking the whole way. We'll call here. Nope. Good. Another $4.61 in my stack, and we're on to the next hand. Queen 10 offsuit, kind of in late position. If you're playing tight, aggressive poker, I really wouldn't recommend this hand unless you're really experienced. However, there's no big blind in this hand. There's only a small blind. If you notice, I own your chips, who's been playing horribly called. And I really hate to see these other 2 guys behind me getting the hand, but I'm just going to call here and see if I can hit a hand and see what happens. The button usually always calls. Yep, there we go. There's Queen 10. We hit top pair. Decent kicker. Here's your 82-cent bet there. So you got King 10 or Ace 10. He's probably got me. He's probably more on a flush or straight draw here, I would imagine. The deuce is a dud. He shoves all in, which makes no sense. I mean, he might have got lucky and hit a set. Definitely not paying $11 to find out into a $3.39 pot. So we're out. We'll let him have it. On to the next one. Jack deuce is garbage. Never want to play that in middle position. You never want to play it in any position. It's no good. If you guys haven't been on this site, and you like to play poker and you like to make money, then you're kidding yourself. There's a lot of money to be made here with as bad as these players are. Now you got a straight draw, flush draw, ace high flop. They're checking around, which is kind of normal online for this type of hand. Anytime you have a straight draw, flush draw, you want to see the turn come out. Especially if you have an ace, then you bet. Nobody's done so. Nobody's building a pot. Nobody's trapping. So if it was me and I had Jack 2 here, I'd fucking bet no matter what. Alright, there's a 249 bet. And there you go. The guy was betting scared. Other guy probably had a pair of nines. Jack 3 offsuit again. Bullshit. We're not playing it. It's garbage. We wait for the next hand. Hopefully I will get another hand and be able to show you some more fun shit. So far it's been a pretty easy game. It's been a call, raise, fold, hit a monster, get paid off type of game. But hopefully we can get something a little bit more in depth, a little bit thinner call that we have to make. Generally online, once I've accumulated the stack that I have, people are going to give me a shitload more respect because the max buy-in here is $25. I'm over 3 times that. And they're going to be like, stay the hell out of this guy's way, especially if they're new to the table and didn't see the original hand I got paid off on. So it gives me some extra firing power when I'm playing the game. With that said, on this site, these players are generally a lot weaker. So it is what it is. And they may call anyway. I haven't tried to pull off a bluff yet, but that may be coming soon if I get a decent hand to try to do that with. 8 deuce offsuit. Again, garbage. I've been playing for about 3 hours now, which a lot of that is before I started recording this video. And it's been the kind of night with my cards that if I went head first into a barrel of pussy, I would come out with a mouthful of dick. I haven't made cards worth shit. But I have been making most of the hands that I did get, which have been very few and far between. We can take a look at the stats here. 16 hands. I've been in. I won 3 pots. 62 have been pre-flop. 12 on the flop. 6 on the turn. Nothing on the river. No fold. 19%. Pretty decent statistics with how horrible my hands have been. Again, if you love playing poker and you're not great at math, I would encourage you to get better at math because it's all about that. We haven't really gotten that position yet to where I've had to explain that, but that may come here very shortly. Alright, we got a straight draw, double flush draw out here. Somebody had a set, they jammed this pot for at least $3. This guy's betting $1. Maybe he has ace 5, maybe he has 2 pair, maybe he has ace 8. I mean, as horrible as they play here, maybe he has that. Maybe he's on a complete bluff, but I would think he would bet more than that if he was on a complete bluff. Got to fold. This play here is just so horrible. And we have a very odd raise at $2.16, which, I mean, if you had really had a hand here, I'm thinking you'd at least be raising to at least 350. I mean, minimum. Um, 9 deuce offsuit again. We're in the garbage pile. We're going to fold that. But the great news is we bought it for $25 and we're still sitting with over $76. So not a bad night. Let me try to analyze some of these other guys playing. Here's another limper. Another guy who limps behind him, Karkin. Horrible. And we have the big blind saying, do I want to raise or do I just want to call here? Or am I trying to play Hollywood and act like I got something, but I'm just going to limp in and try to trap you later? And we all know so far that Own Your Chips is a horrible player. And he's sitting out. So he folded his big blind, which makes it even worse. Now we have a straight draw and flush draw on the board with some high cards. So this should be pretty interesting. It should be a bet and a fold. There's the bet. We should have a fold here. He's about 3/4 of the pot on the bet. Yep, good fold. Very nice. Next up, pocket sixes. Anytime with small pairs, 10s or under, 9s, 8s, 7s, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. I always limp in the pot no matter what. If I hit my set, I go for it. If I don't hit my set on the flop and somebody bets, I get the hell out of there. So here we are with another limper in early position. Middle position calls the limp bet. And button calls the limp bet, which this is all horrible play. We'll move on here. We have 5, queen, 8. Of course, I'm going to check here, see what these guys do. We got a check, and a check. How horrible is that? So now we got 5, queen, 8, 5, and I'm just going to stab it, not really expecting 3 people behind me to fold. The more people you have behind you to fold, the less likely it is you're going to win a pot with a weak hand like pocket sixes on this board with 2 overcards, queen, 8. But in this shitty game, you never know. There we go. Just won that hand with pretty much absolutely nothing. They could have gave me a credit for a 5 because I was in the big blind and 2 5s were on the board, but who knows? I'll take the free money and we'll roll into the next one. Here I am again in the small blind with pocket 3s. Of course, I'm going to call. LSU Blake does the right thing. Raises 3 times the big blind in early position. And you can see he's starting to eliminate players. He's eliminated 2 so far. Karkin, I don't know what he's doing. No, he's going to call here. So this gives me almost 2.5 to 1 to call. Regardless, I'm going to call anyway with a pocket pair. Absolutely missed the flop. I'm going to check. Somebody bets here. I'm absolutely going to fold. And he makes, LSU Blake makes a half pot bet, which I'm going to fold to, and he can have that. Ace King suited on the button. Most people dream of this, but again, this is one of the pots you either win a small pot with or you lose a big pot with. Statistically, I'm absolutely going to raise here no matter what. We have 75, 85 cents in the pot. So I'm going to make it $1.75 to go. Try to eliminate those weak ass hands and see what happens. And 2 down instantly. Fold your hand. He's thinking about it. He's gone. And then this guy, he wants to call. So we got ace queen 7. I got top pair, top kicker with a backdoor flush draw. I'm going to go ahead and make this a $3.50. Let's make it $3.25. Give him a reason to stay in. He's got ace queen. He's got me crushed, but of course he don't. So add a little bit more to the stack. And we're moving right along. Again, betonline.com. If you guys like to play poker and you like to play for money, and even if you're not the greatest player in the world, as you can see so far, these guys suck, and you can make some money. This 2-6 offsuit junk, we're out of here. This site actually reminds me of when I first started playing online poker. I used to play on a site called partypoker.com. I think that was in 2004 or 2005. And I was really new to the game, didn't really know what I was doing. But I was winning some money. And those players on there were absolutely horrible. Not much different from what we're sitting at looking at right now. So you might as well take advantage of what you can and get your money. Also on this site, you can bet on horse racing. You can bet on sports, whether it be football, baseball. You can actually bet on the World Series of Poker. My favorite, you can bet on mixed martial arts, UFC. They also have full casino games like blackjack, 3-card poker, baccarat, roulette, everything else. I don't recommend you play those casino games because, in my experience, they suck up all your money. But this is a pretty damn awesome site if you want to get on here and spend some time in your night and make some money or just have some fun. I just want to also say that I'm not sponsored by BetOnline. They're not paying me any money to tell you guys this. I'm just telling you from my experience with everything that they have to offer, and as horrible as their players are and as easy it is to make money, it's pretty awesome. If you'd have noticed here, I'd have won that pot with a deuce 6 offsuit, but I would have never played it pre-flop anyway, so it doesn't matter. And here's I Own Your Chips with his dumb ass. King 3 offsuit is absolute garbage. We're going to 100% fold this. And we're out. And of course, you just want to let you know if you're watching table action, we had a limper here with the A126 guy. I Own Your Chips min raised to 50 cents. Which is, if I remind you, the whole idea in raising is to eliminate opponents with weaker hands. And if you bet 25 cents into a hand and somebody raises it to 50 cents, if you think your hand's worth 25 cents, you will certainly think it's worth 50 cents. You may not think it's worth $1 or $1.50, and you would fold, which would be the reason of raising and eliminating weaker hands in the pot. But this is how a guy like I Own Your Chips will get himself in trouble. He bets pot here, and he may actually have a hand, and it may be this guy right here, A126 is bad. But I would think with $23 in his stack, unless he's just buying in and wasting his money, he would know what's going on. But let's see here. 6-10, ace-8. All right, neither one of those guys should have absolutely been in this hand whatsoever. But they were. So be it. Okay. I was going to raise here. I Own Your Chips. This came in the hand for 50 cents. I want to try to eliminate these guys here. This isn't a real great hand for me, but I'm just going to raise it to $1.50. This is a loose, aggressive play. I don't recommend it unless you're really familiar playing poker. I just want to get everybody behind me out, which they are. And we have the big blind, and we have I Own Your Chips in the flop right now. Pot's 460. I Own Your Chips only has 638 left. Karkin has a pretty big stack. I definitely don't want to stack off to that guy, but I definitely want to make a bet here since they bet. There's a straight draw and a flush draw out there, so I definitely want to make this around 375 if I can. And we're going to see where everybody's at. Somebody has a jack here. I might be in trouble, but if I had a queen or a 7, I'll be back in the game, which is very minimal to happen, but see, they both fold. So we just added more to the stack. Now we're up to $81. Jack 5's junk. We're out. I'm going to insta fold here. And if you're still watching the video at this point, you'll notice if you watch online, on TV, like the tournaments they do on there, World Poker Tour, World Series of Poker, Poker After Dark, High Stakes Poker, you're not seeing phenomenal hands every hand, which is made for TV shit. 4-3 is junk or fold. Back to what I was saying, this is a game where you're seeing every single hand. It does get boring. It is like watching paint dry sometimes. That's why I'm trying to give a slight bit of commentary in here, just to let you know what I'm thinking, as opposed to myself, my hands, other people playing the game. So you get an idea that if you're a newer poker player, that you kind of know that what you see on TV cannot be expected hand for hand for hand for hand. It's ridiculous. All that shit's made for TV. You're not going to see big, crazy ass hands every hand. And then you get online or play a home game or play some big game and you're like, damn, I'm bored. To be honest with you, this is actually boring to me. I'm used to playing on Full Tilt Poker where they had rush poker to where if you didn't like your hand, you folded the hand, you were instantly dealt another hand. Not only cash game, but tournaments, and I could play 3 or 4 of those at a time, and that was fun. If you notice, this guy just hit a nice flush. Stacked own your chips pretty good. Ace 4. A lot of people are like, oh, I got an ace, I'm going to play it. No. Early position, ace 4 offsuit, that's junk. No way you're going to play this hand. Fold it every time. If you're a very new player, I would tell you don't play anything less than ace queen. If you're somewhat experienced, you might go ace jack. If you're more than that, you might go ace 10. If you're a loose aggressive monster, you might go 8-9 or even below that. But it just depends on your time on your table and your discipline to be able to fold as according to what position you're in and what comes on the flop and knowing your other players. In a very loose aggressive game, I could have certainly played this hand here and see what developed, but I know that I can limp in if I don't hit my hand. Such as life here, I could immediately fold and not donate any more money to the pot. And not try to say, oh, I might get an ace on the turn, or oh, I might get an ace on the river. If you're playing like that, you need to read a book, you need to watch some YouTube videos, you need to play more poker. Alright, I don't recommend this. I'm under the gun. I have ace 9 suited. And damn it, I want to make this 75 cents just because I know these guys at my table right now absolutely suck. 8-9 is a suited connector. If I hit my hand, I'm going to get paid graciously for it. If I get significantly re-raised here, I would definitely fold my hand pre-flop. But in the history of me playing here, that doesn't happen. And when I raise, I only get 1 or 2 callers. So there's my super re-raise. And this is a position where this guy's got $21 plus $3.25 in the pot. He's significantly re-raised. I don't want to play a hand that big with 8-9. I mean, I could call 250, hit it and get paid, or I could miss it and then be out a few dollars, which is not worth it to me in this small money game. So I will fold here. And as you see, I made the right decision. 8-9 is rare to hit, suited connectors. You just want to kind of get in there and get going. This guy apparently, I'm gonna put him on anything from jacks, queens, kings, aces to ace king. Now you have 3, 4, 5, 6. You have a flush draw that hit and a straight draw that hit. So we're going to see what he has. And he had aces, called his hand. The dude that called him had kings. So in my experience, I was right with my call. I was right with my fold. I was right with what he had. Wasn't really worried about the Gloomy Gus guy that played against him because the win was the original Razor. And I put him on the proper range of hands and was smart enough to fold before we got into it. I would have had to hit an absolute monster to get him going. Now, if you notice, Gloomy Gus lost that huge pot last time. And now he has just shoved in all of his money. Now, chances of him having a monster hand is probably 5%. The chances of him being on absolute tilt is probably 95%. Jack 8 is not good enough to go up against him, no matter what he's got. But this guy's got 219 in, is probably going to call him, and he does. And we're going to see, again, we're aces versus kings. And that's kind of shitty for Gloomy Gus because he had back-to-back pocket kings twice, which would generally win a hand. And that did not happen. That sucks for him, but that's part of poker. Don't like when it happens to me. But I don't prefer to get all my money in pre-flop with pocket kings or pocket aces or anything else for that matter. I won't be the aggressor and pre-shove all in. A7, under the gun, I'm folding. It's a junk hand. But Gloomy Gus, I think, did somewhat of the right thing here in both hands. And with pocket kings, that's something you're almost willing to go broke on and buy back in. And that goes back to having 20 times the big blind in order to play the limit that you're playing at. It's $25 here, so you should have $500 in your bankroll to be playing this game for situations like Gloomy Gus came into back to back, which is rare, but it happens. If Gloomy Gus did, he'd already bought back in. He's probably punching holes through his drywall right now because he lost his oodles and noodles and peanut butter and jelly money and he's in college. And that shit happens, and I feel bad for him because he did have a good hand. But hopefully he's got the bankroll to buy back in, and he's going to take a minute or two to calm himself down and get back in the zone and come back in here and make his money back. He's sitting out right now, so generally if he didn't have any other money and didn't give a fuck, he'd have been gone. He's just sitting out right now, so he's raging in his whatever room he's in right now. King 4 is absolute junk. Just folds around to me, I will fucking raise it 100% of the time. I got 2 callers right now. I'm going to fold here. A lot of people think, oh, 25 cents to see a flop, not a big deal. It adds up. And of course, now you got Own Your Chips, who I'm going to call the fucking Turbo Clown, has re-raised the flop big time, which not really a bad bet, but with your table experience so far, nobody's going to give you any fucking respect. They're going to play you. If we were playing my King 4 right now, I'd have hit bottom pair with a good kicker. It's no good, especially this guy's bet $6 now. A little over $6 in the flop. He shoved all in. And he actually hit aces. This idiot called him with threes. So either the guy Karkin up top just absolutely discredited him 100%, which I could probably see that happening some part of the time, but not with what the flop came out as. Or he was just thinking his threes were going to hit. 2-5 offsuit, junk. And you might be thinking here, oh, there's a 3 King 6. George could have hit a 4 and hit a straight here so he could play. But really, a gut shot, no good for me. It's an offsuit starting hand. I'm not playing it. Same thing here, Jack 4. I'm in somewhat late position. Still not playing it. Texas Hold'em, as long with any game, is a game of mistakes. The one who makes less mistakes is going to win for the night. And Jack 4 is not a hand that I am willing to play, not for 10 cents, not for 25 cents, period. Own Your Chips is out again. He's sitting out. It's a weird guy, man. this sitting out shit. He may be playing multiple tables because he just clicked back in, so he's probably playing more than one table. Seems like the type of guy that really doesn't know how to play poker, but he's got some money and he's not willing to risk it. And he's just looking to double up on some donkey shit, which is fine with me because that's the type of guy I want at my table. Because when I hit my hand and I get him involved, he's gonna pay me off. Getting Jack 6 is junk. We're gonna fold it no matter what. If you notice, I own your chips once again has min raised, which is horrible. And I've already said it a few times throughout this. The whole idea behind raising is to define your opponent's hand. You raise an amount where if they have a shitty hand, they fold. If they have a decent to a good hand, they call, and you play the hand accordingly. 5-9, another junky hand. We're gonna let it go. Not of any use to us. We've now accumulated a little bit over 3 times the buy-in, which is nice. King Jack, I'm going to tell you right now, is one of the hardest hands of playing poker. This is unsuited. I'm in early position. Most people a little bit newer to poker are going to play this hand and think they got something great. But to be quite honest with you, it sucks. I'm going to fold because the problem is if the flop comes ace, king, deuce, a little bit worried about the ace, whatever. If the flop comes 10 right here, jack 10-4, we got king jack. Somebody has ace jack, we're fucked. And there's the ace, and now we're like, oh shit, alright, now we're going to slow up on our roll. We're going to hope to hit a king. We didn't hit it. And there's queen 10. We'd have probably queen 10, yeah, we don't want that, but that's alright. Now we got deuces. Here in an earlier position with deuces, I'm just calling here. I'll probably call a raise here as well, because if I hit a set, then I'm going to get paid. And I'll also let you know there's a little special out tonight. If you hit 4 of a kind, you get $40 cash. But regardless of that, I will call a raise here with pocket deuces. Any pocket pair pre-flop. If I don't hit a deuce on the flop and somebody bets, I will immediately be out of here no matter what. A 1-2-6 is trying to decide what he's going to do, and of course he's going to raise. Should have cost me an extra $1. It's kind of it's par for the course. Now we got 2, 3, 4. We got a jack in there. We got to think about what he has, and we got to think about if we check here, will he bet? Normally he's on the button, so he's going to bet. Chances of him having a 3 or 4 is weak. Chances of him having a jack, it's possible. He bets a little bit more than half the pot. Normally I'd fold here. Actually, I'm going to fold here. I think I have him beat here, but I think he has ace, rag, but I'll just fold. We'll let it go on to the next hand. It's not worth dumping money in here with pocket deuces. Jack 4 in the big blind. Another situation where you're in a big pile of shit. But Wynn's got a decent stack. There he goes with the raise. I'm just going to fold here. Of course, I own your chips is going to call. So I'm going to get out of the way and let these guys play and have some fun. See who can stack who. Man, he makes a nice bet in the pot. So I'm thinking he's got king, queen, king 10 maybe. Might even have ace king. He might even have a flush draw and be bullshitting. I don't know. But he's somewhere in that range, and we're not going to find out. So this is interesting. I'm just going to tell you, if you're playing tight aggressive, don't even think about playing this hand. Just go ahead and fold it. Small blind, suited gap connector, small cards, not that great. I own your chip. Definitely playing this. This can be a hand where I can really get paid if I hit my hand, and it only costs me an extra 15 cents. Now, this flop came out something absolutely horrible, so I'll be folding here. But let these guys have a little fun and see what happens. I don't think anybody, well, I say that, but I don't think anybody with a king here is betting, because there's a flush draw, straight draw, and that would have hit. If anybody had jack queen, but you have to be worried about the full house, and you have to be worried about the backdoor flush draw. And with online players, you never know exactly what they're doing. So, it is what it is. And I'm getting some checks here. It's a weak ass hand. I think Own Your Chips probably has, let's see here, it's only $1.90 in the pot. Pocket fours, he didn't have nothing. That's terrible. And pocket fours are in there. That's even worse. Queen six of clubs. Wow, that's interesting. We got a min raise from the under the gun and a call behind him. Now we got a nice raise. And I'd love to call this, but normally in this spot, when you have a min raise from under the gun, which is here and fold your hand, and you have a nice re-raise from back here from win, this guy will generally, if he has any type of hand, re-raise this guy. So we don't want to get caught in that by putting $1.50 out, having fold your hand, re-raise, and then we have to call. Of course, he just called there, which is, again, the horrible gameplay of this game. But, and I'll also mention Queen six of clubs, even though it's on the button, is not something, if you're newer and playing a tight aggressive game, that you should even consider playing. But I will break out from the tight aggressive game and play some hands at certain times, because while I'm trying to share information, I want to make money as well. And just to let you know, we're still 3 times over the original buy-in, which is, like I said, if you buy for 25 and you leave with 50, you've had a great night. We're at well over 75 right now, and we're having a fantastic night. Not saying that can always continue, but it could even get better. Jack 7 again. We're sitting on junk. So this is not a hand I want to play. Plus Karkin makes a standard 3 times raise. Early position. We got middle position calling him. We're going to get out, even though we have position on him. It should be a fun hand. So we got some decent players in here. Ace 10 5. We got a possible straight draw. We got an ace high board. This is pretty interesting because we got a check here. We got a, wow, ridiculous. Another check. Here comes the money. We got 2 diamonds on the board, which indicates a possible straight draw, flush draw with the 5-6. Queen comes. That would complete a straight. If so, $1.09. This guy's probably got something like ace jack, ace 3, which is even way worse than that, and he was on the flush draw. So you can certainly bet him out of that hand. Again, king 5. Not a hand that I'm willing to play with. No advantage of playing this hand. So we're going to get out of here. Own Your Chips. No, he actually folds another hand, which is amazing. And we're getting to the point of the night, too, where we're getting late in the night and the better players are playing. And, folks, These are the better players, if that makes you feel any better about getting on this website. 'Cause these guys suck. Not a whole lot of money moving around. Not a whole lot of betting. Not a whole lot of raising. And that's what's kind of sad. Ace Queen. This is a raise all day, every day. There's 60 cents in the pot. We're going to make it $1.50 to go. If I can get this thing to fucking work right. There we go. $1.50. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't see own your chips fucking raised, or I would have raised it to $2. That's fine. Maybe this will entice him to get his ass in the game. And I hit my hand, great. If I don't, it's $1.50 and I get the hell out. Small blind calling, which I'm always going to be a tad bit cautious of, especially on a flop like this, 658. I'm going to see where he's at. I'm going to make it a 350 bet. And this will tell me whether I'm ahead or behind. And I'm ahead. So if he had anything, flush draw, straight draw, having a set, he would have definitely either called or raised. And he did not. So what you have to realize is even if you don't have the best hand when the flop comes out, a lot of the time neither does your opponent. And you have to put that bet out to find out where they're at. And a lot of times it's going to be a spot where they have a lot of hard time calling a bet into a flop like that when they have a hand that totally mismatches it than they will in betting themselves. So he checked that hand, and if I would have checked that hand, the turn would have came out and it still wouldn't have hit him, and he'd have been like, well, you know, Mr. Pimp Hand doesn't have anything, so I'm just going to fucking lay a bet out here, and then the pressure's going to be on me. But if I immediately put the pressure on him, that's going to make him define his hand and tell him where he's going to be. And most of these players aren't crafty, so I don't have to, you know, do a 2-barrel, 3-barrel bet here to get what I need to get because they're trying to bluff or rebluff me, if that makes any sense to you guys. If it doesn't, send me an email and I'll tell you what that means. This is a hand that my one love Tara hates, which is pocket jacks. And I don't mind it. It's a really shitty hand to play. It's hard to play because you're like, I got a big pocket pair and I want to win, and no matter what comes out, I'm gonna go all the way with it. But at the same time, now I got 3 callers, and see, I've hit a set here, but there's a flush draw, and if anybody's got Queen King, I'm in deep shit. So what I'm gonna do here is define my hand. I'm gonna bet $1.75 into the 235 pot and see where I'm at. If I get called, I'm going to be 50-50 on where I'm at. If I get raised, I probably need to get the fuck out of here. Alright, there's our raise. That's 525. But the question you have in your mind now, let's just call here. Let's just do a instructional. If he's got Queen King, he's a monster. If he bets a shitload here, I'm out. Let's just see what the hell he checks. I'm going to bet half the pot here and just see what he does. And this will tell me. Now, see, he shoves. So, he's probably got Queen King here. Couldn't necessarily have 2 pair. And this would be. God damn it. This is a hard one. Let's see if he's got Queen King. Let's go. He's got it. And we hit a full house and we just sucked out on him, which is absolutely horrible. That was my bad. Even though we won a shitload of money, I'm going to go ahead and put a little sorry in there for him. we'll take the win. But that was absolutely, positively, 100% horrible play on my part, because you heard me say he's probably got Queen King, and he did, and I called him, and I hit a full house. So shit like that can happen in poker. I do not feel proud about it whatsoever. Especially if he's a young guy or a college student that's trying to make a little bit of extra money to fund his eating habit or his rent or paying for his books. But it happens. I mean, it's happened to me numerous times. I've made a shitty call, even though I knew it was better than that, and lost. And in times like this, I made it and I won. But it all comes into a range of putting people on hands. If, with that hand being said, let's go into the conversation of putting people on hands. I'm going to fold this. Early position, king 10. If I was in a late position close to the dealer button, I would certainly play it. But the problem with most players is they only concentrate on what they have. And what you really need to do is you need to concentrate on what you have and what you think your opponent has or your opponents. And if you can decipher that, you can really work your way through this game and make some money. The position I was just in was certainly a position to where I would have lost a lot of money, and I should have lost a lot of money. But I think my ego combined with playing this video said we're going to call him and either see if I was right about the exact hand he had, or maybe he was bluffing and I was making a hero call, which we all try to do a lot of times, which is not the right thing to do. Because I put him on his hand, Queen King, and he didn't. He had it. And I should have never called it. I should have folded and went on the next hand, but I did. But I got lucky, and I paired the board at the end and hit a set. Hit a full house. And, thank Lord Jesus above for that. Might just come into the thick of things. If you just notice, that guy just left. He's done beating up his girlfriend, and he decided he's going to go to bed for the night. But in a long time, use your intuition. My intuition said he had Queen King. He did. I called anyway. Kind of posture for this video, and it was the wrong thing to do, but I got lucky in the interim. That's part of poker. But don't expect it to happen more times than it doesn't. You'll go broke. Here we are. Everybody calling. I got pocket threes. I'm absolutely calling here. Straight draw, flush draw on the board. It's got king 10 of spades, which you could have jack queen. You could have ace queen. You could have ace jack. You could have two spades. There's no reason for me to call a 25-cent bet into an 85-cent pot and try to catch a three because I only have two outs. If you divide that by 4, that means I have an 8% chance on the turn to hit my hand, which is absolutely ridiculous. So we're going to fold and move on to the next hand. And as you see, another 10 came out, which makes this hand even more difficult depending on what kind of cards you're holding. And they're only calling, so I can only assume it's neither one of them have that great of a hand unless we have a nice bet come out here. Again, we have a quarter. So this guy's probably got a king, maybe. Here comes the 329. This guy definitely has a hand, or he's representing that, and he wants this guy to fold. And he's basically putting him all in, so I got to assume that he has the monster, and he does not. He tried to bluff him, and the guy had the king. I love it. Play here is so horrible that it's easy to make money. Again, with the hand that we're sitting at, with the terrible suck out that we had on the other guy, which I still feel a little bit bad about, but not so bad because I got extra money in my stack, is we bought him for $25. We're sitting at $108, and that's less than an hour's worth of play. So you could assume that if we're playing 10-cent, 25-cent poker, which is one of the cheapest limits to play, that we have made $75 in an hour. We're going to call this just because I'm being an idiot. I'm being loose aggressive. Nothing hit here. I'm in early position, so I'm going to check. And I will certainly fold if somebody bets. Now let's just go and bet 50 cents here and act like, let's bet 61 cents. Act like we have. Now actually 61 is too much. I'm gonna bet 54 cents and act like we have the 10 here. See what these guys do. If we were in a bigger game, they would automatically fold if they didn't have a 10. But in this game, if they had any part of it, or they were trying to draw something, like somebody had a queen or a king in their hand, you're going to try to draw, and we won. 72 cents, free money. We had absolutely nothing. That's what you call a bluff, and we move on to the next hand. And we're in. We're on the button now. There is a girl that played, and I'm going to show you right here. We're going to raise this to $1. There's a girl named Annette Oberstead who, before she even turned 18, was playing online poker on Full Tilt Poker, and she was winning tournaments. And there was a tournament that she went and played, put a piece of tape over her cards. Never played her cards, but just played the people at the table online. And she ended up cashing big in that tournament just by playing the other players at the table. Same thing here. I'm going to make this $1.50 because the king came out and see where we're at. And of course, again, Jack 5, we had absolutely nothing and we won the pot. We're up more money. Bluffing happens. Bluffing is good, but you got to bluff in the right spots. Just depends on what you run into. These guys right here are kind of shitty players, where generally they would call you on anything if they hit anything, and I'm sure they would. But if you go check, 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 I'm assuming that's my pot. Now 10 jack suited, it's a suited connector. This guy makes it a little bit more than an average bet, the Stingray guy, because the I own you guy left. I'm just going to call him because I have position on him. See what he wants to do. I could hit a hand here and crush him. I could have absolutely nothing and fold. I could hit a decent hand and get in trouble. And here's your trouble hand. I have two overs. I have a straight draw and a flush draw. I have a straight flush draw. Not really anything I want to be involved in. Whether he has anything or not, he recognizes that, so he's going to be the first out to bet. And he makes a good bet, $1.70, which is only half the pot. So I'm absolutely going to fold here. This guy over here, folds your hand, calls. And here you go again with another half pot bet. So if this guy's got something like King of Hearts, whatever of Hearts, he's crushing. If he's got King 10, he's crushing, except for that ace hit in the river, which could get him in deep shit. But he's put 945 in the pot against a guy at 1345, which essentially puts them all in. That guy folds, so that was a good bet. That's a good hand. Guy played aggressive, so we're going to give him a little bit of respect right now because he played that hand phenomenal. Gloomy Gus is masturbating himself to poker. Oh, 2-4 of clubs. This is kind of funny because generally, all these guys in this pot. I'll tell you what, we're just going to call here. So many people already limped in the pot that 2-4 is not something I would generally tell you to play. But if you're a really loose, aggressive player, then it'd be pretty interesting. This guy suited aces bet $1.70 into the pot. But the problem is he's only got $5.56 behind. $1.25, $1.35 in. He's really not giving anybody pot odds to play, so we'll give him the 25 cents and we'll go on to the next hand. Just not a very good bet with what you have behind. Again, we have jacks, which is a hand that my one love Tara despises. But we'll just make a standard raise of 75, see what comes of it. And of course, Suited aces is in there again, and I'm not really giving this guy a whole lot of credit right now because of the last bet he made, which was what he had behind. This guy betting only 50 cents more is kind of retarded. But we'll call it, of course. I mean, there's no way we're going out. And these are two short stacks. We've hit our set. I'm going to check here, hope that one of you guys bets, and then shove them all in. Because as bad as their play is, again, I know they're going to bet. They're going to bet something fucking retarded, and he did. So we're just going to shove on him. And let's go. There it is. He wants to play. King 8. Now I had a full house. He's done. So add more to my stack. And there you go at bad play. Finding the fish at the table. Recognizing what they're doing. And now we're up to $118. Queen 8, junk, we're full.